Check her out. I finally made this Elena quilt, and I have some amazing mixed domestic tips and tricks to help you as you navigate this pattern, because it was such a fun quilt to put together. Honestly, the pattern is by Kitchen Table Quilting, and the fabric is by Kate Leach of Isoldo Design with Windham Fabrics. This is Flora Form. So if you're new to me doing a pattern review, just know that this is not a video where you're going to get any of the information in it that is proprietary to the copyright of that pattern. I support pattern designers 100%. What I will do is walk through the pattern as I was doing it to give you my tips and tricks and processes that help me get through it. But you will definitely need the pattern whenever you try to navigate this with this video. So now I have both stacks of the larger squares. This is the background, and this is from each of the prints. And I'm going to make a bunch of half square triangles. And instead of slicing these into triangles first, I'm going to sew them first and then slice them into their half square triangles later. So I'll take one of the novelty prints, one of the background, line up all of the raw edges, and then as you can see, I have drawn a diagonal line right here. So I'm going to do this on each of these so that we can see it, because this is black, so we can't see it there. And then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch along this, and then a 1/4 inch on the other side. Ta-da! And now I can slice through that to create 2 separate half square triangle squares. And then even more fun than that, I am going to chain piece, which is, if there's something that's similar that you have to do over and over again, you can just keep doing all of that, like batch sewing, and then go on to the next step. And since I'm basically doing the same thing over and over here, I just get to zone out and have fun. So instead of trimming the thread there, I will sew the next one. And then I will probably do these in batches of 6, but just so that you can see, now that I've done one side of this chain, I'm going to go back up the other side and complete it. I've got a chain. And the first step is just cutting these apart. Oh my God, y'all, I sewed one and I totally forgot to put the black underneath. Okay, now just pretend like I didn't do that. I sewed it. Ta-da! Half square triangle. I'm going to press these to the dark side for all of these half square triangles. And so see, this is folded. And why I said to sew a scant 1/4 inch is that sometimes the math doesn't math because of human error. And whenever I trim, the squares don't end up being the size that they're supposed to be. And that doesn't just happen with this size. I found it to happen with like a lot of half square triangle sizes. So there's the first trim, lining up that diagonal line to get that right. And even with that, see, there's not a lot to trim. So one other thing you can do is just make the larger squares that you turn into half square triangles just a scotch bigger as well. Because the math is correct, it's just we're human, so we don't sew perfectly. And ta-da, look at, she's pretty. So next up, we need some of these, and some of these. Ta-da! So now we're going to sew some squares together. I'm going to sew this one to this one, and this one to this one, and then show you how to spin the seams on this perfect 4 patch. So this is when I put my 1/4 inch foot on. So now to spin the seams, I've pressed them. I pressed this one going this way, and I pressed this one going that way, or towards the dark, and it goes this way. And since these 2 seams are going opposite direction, you can nest the seam right here. And that creates a super crispy intersection in the center, and it'll spin the seams. Let me show you. And then right here, they nest perfectly. Look at that. Look at that juicy intersection. It's beautiful, perfect. And then right here, I am going to press it off camera, but all of the seams are going to go the same direction. So here they're going counterclockwise, like so. Now I'll go press it. And then it creates like a little baby block in the back. And then this is what it's all about. Next up, I found the pairs that go together. Let me just show you how they go. So you'll need these, and then this block, and then this, and then this. So for this one, we will need this and this and this. So now I will sew this to this and this to this. I chain pieced these in pairings. So this first half, I'm going to go press and then bring it back. So as you can see, I pressed these two seams going in opposite directions so we can spin them, folding them over, and right here, boom, 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 it's gonna nestle. Boom, look at those points. And then flipped over, spin the seams with ease, ooh la la. Then for these side pieces and the top pieces, just slice these in half. This one stays on this side, this jumps across the pond on the other side. So now I'm gonna show you stitching up that diagonal. That's how I'm sewing them, essentially, boop, like that, to where it's rows like that on the diagonal. And then there's a top piece that I've got to redo because I cut them wrong. So the thing about these is that you need to maybe double, triple check to make sure they're going the right direction. So this is it because they're all in the diamond and it's cascading this way. So this one is right here. What I need to do is add these strips in between this first row. And my guidance on this is just make sure that you line up the raw edges the same side. So if it's going this way, I'm going to make sure that I'm always doing it on the bottom raw edge. Why? Because I cut these like 1/8 of an inch longer just in case. So I'm gonna have to trim, but it was consistent throughout all the blocks. So yay! And as y'all can tell, I'm not like a clipper or a pinner. I try to avoid it as much as possible, but this would be a good place to like clip or pin if you wanted to. What I generally do is once I get started here, then I'll just go towards the bottom and I'll just hold the bottom and then I'll maneuver the edge as needed. And then see right there, that's like 1/8 of an inch too long, but that's how I cut it. As long as they all look like that, we're good to go. And so now that I've chained all this together, essentially in reverse order, I'm going to start with this bottom part, and then the most recent one where I added it, this is the side that I lined it up. Ta-da! And now I'm just going to keep adding to it from here. So I'm going to cut this one, this next one, and sew this one just so I can keep track of everything and I don't mix it up. So this is just a great way for it to be tidy for me as I'm sewing. And now this is where I am with all the strips going from corner to corner. And I will begin putting these together. But the first thing I need to do is that skinny strip in the middle. And I need to make sure that these strips are the right length in between before I attach them. Now for this, the first is attaching this banded one. I'm doing one of the shorter ones. I am going to use Roxanne's glue base to show you like a next level way to get precision. And essentially here, this is where I want. One thing that I did, I pressed the long bands towards the center, and then this one I pressed to the outside. So this will just nest right in there beautifully. But I'm gonna go ahead and glue base that. Put a little dot inside the seam allowance. Gonna nest those so they're good to go. Heat set it. So I'm letting that glue dry and then I'll let it cool. But see how that's just nested in there? So it's going to be beautiful. And then I'll go ahead and glue base here as well to get in the habit of doing it here because you're going to need to do it here for the next one. And since the major intersections are glue based, I'm going to just hand maneuver the rest of it. And then here, we don't have to worry about it. Then essentially, between the two spots that are glue based, I just want to look underneath, make sure all the seams are going where I press them. Now I will press the seams towards the middle again. Now I will take the next one, ooh, pretty, and line this up. This one will nest in there. So let me glue base that. Boop. But then this one is arguably more important than that one even. Because for this to work, we need to make sure that this bar goes along with this bar. So one thing that I do is I'll just lay this down to where it's natural and I fold this over. And there's something about this that makes me need to shimmy. And this is where I'm going to glue base this right here. Because I want this black band to match And then let me show you why that was important. So when I fold this over, see how it continues? You want to continue that illusion so it looks like a perfect cross grid. Now that everything's glue basted, I can just sew. And then with this new row that I just did, both of these along the strip are going on the inside, and it fits so beautifully right there. And it makes sure that everything is also crisp. Look at that crispness. It's crisp. And see how these, ooh, it's like it's continuous. Ta-da! Now I am sewing the two halves of the quilt together, and I did glue baste at each of the major intersections here since these were some bigger pieces and I wanted to make sure that it was good. But after this, then we're done with the quilt top. Now that I've gone through it, if I were to make this again, which I probably will because I love the pattern that much, I would really, really make sure that I was precise with the cutting. I was for the original cuts on the smaller blocks before I joined them, and that did it enough. But honestly, after that, I should have trimmed them all to the same size because then I can make sure that the lattice is the right sizes, because some of them I did that thing where you like, if you stretch one side a little bit and then you just leave the other one flush to like force it to fit. I did that, and like the couple millimeters on each one of those longer strips, I can see it. I'm not going to see it when I quilt it. Generally, I wouldn't nitpick because it's finished and it's fly, but since I'm sharing, and I know some of y'all might be 100%ers, that is just something that I would focus on. Like that would be my thing, was just making sure to trim that all of that was precise, and then everything else would fall in line. And then also the foot that I used, it wasn't a proper 1/4 inch foot. So I think I was sewing with a heavy 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I wish I would have sewn it with a scant 1/4 inch just so that it could be a little bit bigger. It's a great size. I probably would make this in the larger size. Hey, if anyone wants the larger size in any of these, or you would like a larger size kitted up, let me know in the comments. I'll totally do that. But the hero of this project for me was chain piecing, 100%. It helped me keep things together. It helped me get into that flow zen state that's super fun whenever you quilt sometimes. Like when you do the same behavior over and over again, I just like get into my flow state. And then chain piecing helped me keep it together as I was working in the rows. So if you get one thing from this video, chain piece. It's fun. It's what's for dinner. You know what else I want to play with now that I've made this is making the lattice thicker. Like I love it with this look, but I would be curious to see what this would look like with a thicker lattice. Of course, those would have to be bigger too, but everything else could stay the same. This is a really, really cool pattern that can be used for a multitude of different fabrics. I even have a second one. Oh, let me show you. In my shop, I have a second kit that has done really well. Seth Apter's On Your Mark collection. And look, it's so beautiful with the light background and different fabric. Like, whoa. Like, right? I feel like this should be the thumbnail or something, right? I'll take a photo. I get this kit in my shop. This is the Flora Form one, and then this is the On Your Mark one. Thank you, Lisa Milliken, for making this one so I could show it to folks. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to thumbs up. If you aren't already, subscribe. Share this with everyone about the mixed domestic inclusive sewing and crafting community where everyone is welcome unless you don't want someone else here because of who they are. In that case, you self-select out of this community. It's the paradox of inclusion, and we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome, valid, warm, and seen in this community. Until next time, happy sewing!